Episode 19 of the podcast. In the first part, we're going to review what this whole podcast is about because I realize I have a whole lot of content out there right now. And then we're also, in the second part, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of dogs that I'm working with. This is the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, and a certified professional dog trainer. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. Episode 19. Now that I have about 6 hours of content out here, I know that I need to revisit some of my core topics because I'm assuming you haven't listened to everything I've posted, right? Maybe you have, and that's okay. We're still going to review. So, groomers, I want to teach you more about behavior and help you understand how we can all work together, because you're not alone in this, to help difficult dogs be good, because that's a core problem. Difficult dogs have a behavior problem, have a training issue that we can overcome. We can overcome it. We don't need to just try to do perfect trims on dogs who are naughty. Not that they're trying to be naughty, but you know what I mean. That dogs that are overly anxious, fearful, aggressive, those are all training issues that groomers shouldn't have to deal with. And if we are dealing with them, we need to be doing it in a way that is working on their behavior and not working on pretty trims. Trainers, I want to teach you about the specific needs in the grooming process, because how can we be more effective with our training if we don't understand what the goal is? We need to take a greater look at what groomers need from a dog. So as a parallel to that, I'm going to say I wouldn't take on teaching nose work because I don't really understand how nose work works. Like teaching dogs to alert to sense isn't something I know much about. I would have to learn about that before I tried to teach it. So before you try teaching a dog about being good for grooming, you kind of need to know more about the grooming process. And that's fine. I would love for you to know more about the grooming process. I think sometimes groomers and trainers, we kind of forget that other profession complements our profession. We can work together and achieve better dogs for these owners. So it's good for the dogs, it's good for the owners, it makes for safer vet visits. In general, it's just much, much safer, because I also want owners to be able to teach their dogs to be comfortable with as many aspects of grooming and veterinary processes as possible. I think that that's really important to arm owners with some information they can use. The thing is that it's an owner's responsibility to have a dog that won't hurt people. And just pause on that for a minute, because I think that we tend to take on dogs that are a problem. As groomers, we certainly do. We're like, oh, I couldn't quite get all that trimmed up because he was trying to bite me. So should I charge them $5 more? I mean, the trim's not pretty. And we need to get out of that mindset. We need to put some responsibility back for, I'm not responsible for this dog's behavior. I do beautiful grooms on dogs who are good for me. So I would like to send you to another professional who can do the part that I don't do. The complementary professional, the dog trainer, the behavior consultant, the veterinarian. Like, we need to work together and help these owners have safer dogs, because owners get into trouble too. Then they find out that one day they need to give eye medication and they find out their dog is willing to hurt them. And I've been called in for a number of cases like that, where I had to teach a dog who needed twice a day eye medication how to allow an owner to do that, with a long history of this dog being really, really determined to hurt people when they touched around his eyes. So this is all about safety, and behavior is safety. Dogs that well behaved are safer to groom. So I think that, the vet techs and the vets and the other pros also will have a safer clientele if we really focus on some of the grooming stuff. All right. It's a touch fest. We're going over their entire body. And I'm coming from a unique background because I've been a groomer for a long time, and I'm a trainer, and I've been a vet tech. I've also worked with large animals like cows and horses. And the reason why I focus on teaching dogs to be calm, comfortable, and cooperative is because it's a very large combination of skills that we're working on, right? So we need them to know how to be good for grooming, because everything else seems pretty easy after that. So I want you to think about grooming process as everything. We're going to touch every area of that dog's body, multiple times with equipment that makes noise, with water, with soap, with our fingers, with blowing air. Like we're all over that dog. We're moving them around. We're picking up legs. We're twisting their ears around a little bit. We're looking in their mouth. Yeah, groomers look in mouths, ideally. um, so we're all over that dog, and it's necessary. It's really part of keeping your dog healthy. So, a dog who can be comfortable with that kind of touching can also be comfortable with a vet procedure because then you're just adding an extra little layer, right? The dog's already comfortable with having somebody reach around them, hold them, grab their leg, do the things that they need to do. Now they learn about the needle or the light that's going to shine in their eye, which is stuff that actually I practice at home. Why not? I encourage my owners to be thinking about like, oh, right, someone's going to shine a light in this little dog's eye. Maybe there's a way to safely do that with a flashlight at home and not make it something that is new and startling with a sore eye, right? This is all about prevention and helping these dogs be good from a very young age. So either we're fixing a problem or we're preventing a problem. So that's my skill set is a little bit different. And that's why I really think that teaching dogs to be good for grooming and to help them be more comfortable with all of that is going to be good for groomers. It's going to be good for the vets. It's going to be easier for the owners. You know what? It's also going to be, it's going to benefit like the dog walker who, suddenly they're on a walk and the dog picks something up in their mouth and they need to open that dog's mouth, right? Or they need to look like, what do you get a stick stuck in your teeth? Like, let me take a look. Or the doggy daycare will be able to check a foot during play. Like, hey, are you limping? Come here, let me take a look. Did you bump a nail? And all of those things are so normal. Why are we forgetting that part? Why are we forgetting that owners have a responsibility to make this happen? Our responsibility is to make sure that the owners get the knowledge that they need, right? So it's not about turning dogs away if they are unruly or aggressive, or, it's about arming people with this is the solution set. This is what needs to be done. Because groomers take on dogs that have pretty severe problems. Trainers, when an owner says, I don't plan on working on it, trainers don't take on that customer. We know that's not going to work out. Right? I can get a dog to behave for me. It does the owners no good at all once I'm gone. So I wouldn't take on somebody who says, oh, no, I just plan on doing the same thing I've always done. But groomers tend to. And I want groomers to be armed with information that says, nope, I don't need to put up with that. That is not my job. I do beautiful trims on dogs that are good. And if the dog can't be good, then I'm going to help you find what you need to know to help him be good. And I think that modern dog owners are really keen on that. Modern dog owners are really into their dogs. These are their kids. These are their fur babies. This is part of the family, And if you tell them, hey, you know what? Your dog just had a little bit of trouble today, and let me tell you how we can go about making your dog more comfortable with all of this. And maybe there's a trainer I send you to, or a vet I send you to, or I slowed everything down. So as a review for the kind of stuff that I'm covering on this podcast is that I think that safety is its core. All about safety. Safety for the dog, safety for the groomers. Working with a dog who's trying to bite you while you groom or trying to lunge off the table is clearly unsafe. But owners don't understand that their dogs might act that way unless we tell them. So we need to talk to our owners. We need owners to talk to groomers and say, he has had problems in the past with something, or we're working on it, or who do you recommend so that we can work on it? We need to work together because it's going to be a long-term strategy to help a dog be good. And we can do it. We can do it. Dogs can learn to be good. That's the owner's responsibility, and it's our responsibility to make sure that they have the information they need to do it. If you're enjoying my podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. I'm going to give you another example, one from one of my training customers. So I wasn't there for grooming, but we talked about a variety of things going on with these dogs. And Charlie is going to be the example today. But anyway, he was he was really, really alert to everything, and we were trying to teach him how to be good when people come in, not go crazy when somebody knocks on the door. There were other things we were working on, and they're expecting a baby. So we're we're working on a lot of how to deal with commotion, how to deal with baby crying, how to deal with calming down. But one of the things that I found out while talking to them in the very beginning, because I ask things like, how is he for nail trims? How is he for touching his ears? What kind of problems has he ever had at the groomer or at the vet or with you? And it turns out he's not real comfortable with nail trims. So my goal was as a trainer to work on all the training stuff. But what I encouraged my owners to do is to, while we're playing with him, get touching him, wrestle with him. Play is not just about what we're doing with your face. It's not just about up front at your face or throwing balls and bringing them back. Like when you're wrestling with your dog or when you're goofing off, get in there and like tickle his backside and touch his tail and touch his feet. And we got him kind of used to that silliness. My program's a little different because I go into people's homes. So I'm there playing with the dog too and teaching them how to do this. But I started getting them used to stuff like I wrapped my arms around you as if I were going to pick you up, which is kind of a close hug. A lot of dogs are not comfortable with that, but a close hug, right? I put my arm underneath his back end and boosted up his back feet off the ground and goofing off with him, playing ball, and he started becoming very, very comfortable with that. Like, oh, that's just part of play. We worked on that for, I don't know, a week, and then we tried the nail trim. Right? And sometimes it's not a whole lot of work. It's more like, oh, we should be touching our dogs everywhere and not just about being calm. We need to do both. It needs to be, hey, this is totally fine and I trust you. You guys are my wrestle buddies and it's normal for people to touch me everywhere. And it also needs to be the occasional, oh, and let's calm down and really take a close look. So we worked on it for about a week, along with all the other things we were working on. And then we did the nail trim. So I decided to, because he's comfortable with me, I'm just going to do the nail trim. And we're on the floor. He's kind of a pity mix. And his owners were giving him cookies. We decided to use classical conditioning. Just, yeah, here are some cookies. You eat cookies while I go ahead and do this. I still added reward markers if he did something fantastic. But I held his foot and picked it up, helped him relax, only proceeded with trimming the nail if his foot was still, and we got through all four of them. And the owners were like, oh, did you get one of the paws done? I'm like, oh, I just finished the fourth paw. Like, really? Like, yeah, so we just sat there, gave him some more cookies, and sent him on his merry way. So a totally uneventful nail trim. He was entirely comfortable with it. And part of that's because we spent a week touching him all over. It's weird to not, it's weird to be touched all over if you're not used to it. So we got to get him used to it. And we had the time to, right? We didn't need to get it done right now. We had the time to do it, and they had my guidance, and he's perfectly safe. If a dog is unsafe for touching, then that's a customer who needs to go to a trainer of some sort, to actually work on things. But he was pretty comfortable with it, so we just got him used to it, and we did the nail trim. So follow up next week after that, we were working on some of the other things that we're working on. So we had one of their neighbors come over and we worked on like knocking at the door and people coming in and people going, coming and going, and loud sounds and super, super quiet and downstairs while we walked around and holding the blanket and pretending it was a baby that we were passing around. And, we worked on a lot of other stuff. And then because I'm a trainer who's always thinking about the future, we cranked it up to crazy land. So we had the TV blaring and we were pretending to argue over, no, my sport ball team's better than your sport ball team. And so we're goofing off with these arguments. We've got the TV blaring. We're pretending to argue. We've got the baby crying sound on the cell phone to kind of mimic the fact that there could be a baby crying and goofing off. And while I was sitting on the floor and we were all doing this, he came over to me in the same position we were in for that nail trim to explore that again on his own. How interesting, right? Like, he was totally comfortable with everything that was going on. He was like, hey, cool, this is kind of fun. But hey, you're on the floor, so he kind of came over and gave me his paw. And not like a paw from in front, but like came over beside me and lifted his paw kind of up toward his belly, like to lift it up the way I do nail trims, which is sort of like like picking horse hooves, right? So he came over and he started exploring it again. So you know what? While we're all sitting there pretending to argue about sport ball teams and goofing off and being loud, he's over there playing around with it. So I started picking up his feet and just going through the motions, and we did all 4 feet that way because it wasn't scary. And he's now exploring the fact that, like, oh, this is interesting. So even when we cranked up the distraction level to 11, I don't know if there are any Spinal Tap fans out there, but if 10 is the loudest, we cranked it to 11. Um, he was able to be not only just comfortable in that situation, but curious about having his nails done again. So even though in the past it had been very, very frightening, we worked on it, and really it took a couple weeks. Just a couple weeks. And I'm sure that the next time someone does his nails, as long as they are patient with him and kind of follow the same protocol, like, oh, yeah, we're going to just do this and it's going to be fine. As long as they don't, look at his chart and say, oh, it used to be bad for nails, so let's just clamp down on him. Dogs don't like that. But he's going to be fine. He's going to enjoy nail trims and be okay for it and trust us. I will give you an example. I have a little Maltese. I groomed him. I did his nail trim yesterday. He has an enlarged heart. He was given a couple months to live about 3 years ago. He has an enlarged heart. He has skin problems. He has anal gland problems. He occasionally gets ear infections. I mean, he's got a lot of things going on. And they were following the vet's advice about, you just got to push him through it and get it done. And as a groomer, I don't do things that way. I want to teach him to be calm and comfortable and cooperative. So we ended up saying, all right, you know what? If they're doing it that way and they are getting his nails done, how about we have them do the nails and I will do the grooming? Because he's good for me for grooming. He would let me do everything I needed to do, but for nails, that worked him up. I'm like, I don't want this dog having his fatal heart attack on my table, right? But he started to become very anxious about having his nails done at the vet's. So we went back to me doing his nails. And you know what? Calming him down, helping him through it, talking him through it. And I did his nails yesterday, and I did the back nails first because he doesn't care about those as much. He was like, oh, okay. And I moved on to one of his front legs, and he was like, yeah, okay, I can handle this. Seriously, he really didn't have an issue with his right front leg, which has problems. He chose to kind of stand and on his back legs to do it. And I'm like, okay, but you know what? He didn't wiggle his foot away from me. He chose to allow me to do it. Before I got the nail trim started, I put a muzzle on him because we know he also will not pull his punches if he gets upset. But we didn't really need the muzzle. The muzzle was just kind of there, right? But I put it on him and he willingly let me put it on. I took it off and put it on. We played around with it a little bit before we ever started. But that's a dog who has some pretty significant health problems, who cannot be stressed out. Like, I don't want this dog to get stressed. And he's still able to say, you know what? I can trust you. And because he could trust me, we actually got it done. We're going to do just nail trims separate from grooming for a little while so that it is easier for him, like to just do a nail trim and be done, and then grooming would be separate. We have to make these accommodations while we're working with a dog to be better. Oh, and did I mention he's also 11 years old, so he's not a spring chicken. And he's been forced into this kind of stuff for a majority of his life. Because I just couldn't reach them with asking the vet to not do that. Sometimes people are like, oh, the vet knows best. And you know what? I get that, but the vets aren't trainers. And, so I kind of had to pick my battles there and say, well, then the vet can do his nails. And I will do the part that he's totally comfortable with. So I know I went long on this segment, but to give you an example of a dog who is older, a dog who has a history of being pretty aggressive about it, a dog with multiple health problems, a dog who physically cannot be stressed out, who still responds well to being taught to be calm and cooperative, to being allowed to let me calm him down, and I only trim the nail when his foot is still for me. That's the point of contact. That's the point of choice, is that if he's holding his paw still, no matter what faces he may be making or anything else, if he's holding that paw still and I line up the clipper and he's choosing to stay still, that's the point where I snip. And he has allowed that. So I know, kind of a long story, but I think that most of us wouldn't think that at that age we could still go ahead and just work on it, or that owners would be into it. But you know what? Here he is. He's got problems, and his owners are saying, "Gosh, you know what? We need him to be done. We can't not do his nails. How do we work this?" And suddenly the big softy groomer suddenly sounds like she's making sense. If you'd like to talk to me, you can find me through my grooming and training business, happycrittersdogtraining.com, my email, chrissy@happycritters.net, and through the Creating Great Grooming Dogs Facebook page. And we have these awesome devices in our pockets that allow us to do live video with each other. I can help you with the dog on your table. We can set up live lessons, and you may be surprised at how much we can get accomplished together via video. I'm also happy to come to you if you're near my area in southern New Hampshire. If you're ready to go beyond the podcast, and I hope you do, I've made it really easy for you. If you go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step, you'll see all of the options. There's the Scholar Lounge community, there's the Modern Grooming Professional Certification, there's Master Canine Stylist and Professional Canine Stylist Diploma testings, there's the Behavior Lab for coaching and private one-on-one sessions with me, and of course, the Master Groomer Behavior Specialist program. So go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step.